Good day. I'm Theo de Jager, the Executive Chairman of Saai, our Southern African Agri-Initiative. I've been fortunate enough to be included in the delegation which was invited to visit Washington this week. I will be leaving with Gerhard Papenfus, the Chief Executive Officer of the National Employers Association of South Africa, NEASA, and one of our key partners in Saai. Gerhard represents the smaller and medium-scale businesses across the country, pretty much the same constituency which we represent in Saai for the agricultural sector, the typically family-based enterprise. Also in our delegation will be Dr. Corné Mulder, the leader of the Freedom Front Plus, one of the political parties which is included in the government of national unity. And although each one of us have a different angle to the topics which will be under discussion, we have pretty much the same principles underlying our positions. For me, it is very important also to bring the voice of Zimbabwean farmers and former farmers, those who fell victim to the fast-track land reform program in Zimbabwe, on the topic of compensation and the restoration of the rural economy. We have to discuss Zedera and the current offers on the table for compensation, also how to get there. This will be discussed with a number of government departments in Washington, inter alia with the Department of State, and also a number of think tanks which frequently discuss Southern Africa and more specifically the relationship with Zimbabwe. But we will also be discussing the new Expropriation Act. And for us, it is important to highlight how this Expropriation Act differs from similar acts elsewhere in the world and the implications it has for us as farmers, the uncertainty it brings, and we want to highlight the political undertones of expropriation at no compensation. And for that, we will be taking some material to show policymakers in the USA and policy influencers in the USA how specifically the ANC within the government of national unity is speaking with a forked tongue, and what they say elsewhere in the world so much different from how they sell it in South Africa, where for them it is about land and their narrative that land had been stolen and hence needs to be expropriated without compensation. We will also be discussing the way black economic empowerment is being implemented in South Africa and the impact of that, both in the business sector and in current and prospective investors. How it excludes certain people from a very young age from entering certain careers, getting space at universities to study in certain directions, and how it undermines the dream of having a non-racial society in South Africa. We will also be discussing rural safety, farm attacks, farm murders, not to complain about anything, but we hope to sell some solutions. In Saai, we have partnered up with AfriForum on rural safety. We have developed an app for all our members and also for those who take part in farm watches. And we have some 186 of those all across the country. And the technology we employ, not only to follow up on farm attacks, but also to prevent it. And we can do with some technological assistance, especially the kind of digital technologies and artificial intelligence technologies which were recently developed in the USA. For us in Saai, it's very important that our members will understand that we're not going to the USA to complain about anything. We are going there to propose some solutions and to seek support for it. Because in many ways we have reached a cul-de-sac, even in terms of the law in South Africa. We have depleted all our options. For example, to stop the calling for farmers to be, and boers, to be killed, like in singing the song, Kill the Farmer, Kill the Boer, where the doors of justice have now been shut to us when the judges in the Constitutional Court refused to hear our case. So our only option now is to take it international, and we will be drumming up support for such international legal action. We hope, of course, to explain to the Americans that we are not in the business of exporting our farmers. Our farmers are here to stay. But we need a policy environment which is conducive to profitable and sustainable farming. And for that, we need changes to certain policies. We need a dramatic or radical change in the way the ANC, specifically as one of the key stakeholders in the Government of National Unity, have been approaching rural development and land reform. And we need some consequences for corruption and nepotism and self-enrichment, which became the hallmark of land reform under ANC rule. We are not going there to claim that we are the sole or biggest representative voices of South Africans, or even as Afrikaners, or even as farmers. But we have well-established and comprehensive constituencies. And those constituencies are unashamedly Christian, are unashamedly pro-Israel and anti-Hamas. We go there because we are unashamedly pro-human, the International Declaration on Human Rights. We are pro-property rights. We are pro-non-racial societies. And if it would take drumming up support from the USA and Western countries to create a better foundation for the society we dream about, then we will do whatever is necessary to ensure that we have more leverage on bringing about that kind of society. And we are very dependent on your support and your prayers in this endeavor.